stupid.
If a man came into your life, wouldn't you want to compromise? That question usually gets laughter, but listen carefully to the answer. Why should she have to? In Hollywood, where fame sparkles under blinding lights and power hides behind smiles, compromise has often meant something far darker for Black women. This industry sells dreams, yet for many talented Black actresses, those dreams were quietly dismantled, piece by piece, by men who controlled the doors, the contracts, and the narratives. Behind the glamour lies a truth few are comfortable confronting. Careers crushed, voices silenced, lives redirected into tragedy, not by lack of talent, but by racism, abuse, and unchecked white male power. These women entered Hollywood believing in possibility. What they encountered instead was punishment for resistance and erasure for survival. In this video, I will share 15 stories you were never meant to fully hear. Watch until the end, and you may never look at Hollywood the same way again. If these stories matter, stay with us, share this truth, and subscribe.
Billie Holiday, a voice so powerful it had to be destroyed. Billie Holiday didn't just sing jazz, she exposed pain, racism, and truth with every note. By the early 1940s, she was one of the most influential voices in American music and had begun crossing into film. But her downfall didn't come from failure on stage. It began at home. In 1941, Billie married a white man who would quietly dismantle her life. Behind the applause and admiration, she endured physical violence, emotional manipulation, and a deadly betrayal. He introduced her to heroin, weakening her health and tightening his control. As her fame grew, so did his jealousy. Every standing ovation became another reason to punish her. In 1947, after a near-fatal beating, he reported her drug use to police. Billie was arrested, imprisoned, and stripped of her cabaret card, effectively banning her from New York's major clubs. Hollywood turned away. The industry that profited from her pain refused to save her. She died at 44, penniless with cents in her bank account. Was Billie Holiday destroyed by addiction or by a system that weaponized it against her?
Dorothy Dandridge, Hollywood's first Black Oscar nominee, abandoned to die. Dorothy Dandridge reached a milestone no Black actress had before. With Carmen Jones, she became the first Black woman nominated for an Academy Award. Brilliant, glamorous, and on the edge of history. But success made her dangerous. Behind the scenes, powerful white men controlled her every move. One promised career elevation while quietly sabotaging her independence, spreading rumors when she tried to break free. Studios listened. Offers dried up. Roles vanished. Dorothy was labeled difficult, the industry's favorite weapon against women who resist control. Her marriage to a white man became another trap. He drained her finances, cheated openly, and left her drowning in debt. The press attacked her interracial relationship while Hollywood closed its doors. Fame turned into isolation, applause into silence. In 1965, alone, financially ruined and emotionally broken, Dorothy overdosed in her apartment, leaving behind a young daughter and a legacy Hollywood refused to protect. Did Dorothy Dandridge fall from grace, or was she pushed for daring to exist beyond control?
Diana Sands, punished for refusing to play the role they assigned her. Diana Sands was not just an actress, she was a symbol. Her performance in A Raisin in the Sun made her a powerful voice for Black womanhood on stage and screen. But in an industry built on obedience, strength came at a price. In 1964, Diana challenged a white theater producer, demanding a lead role that wasn't another stereotype. She refused to be reduced to a maid, a background figure, a symbol without depth. That refusal ended her career. Branded a troublemaker, she was quietly banned from major theater productions. Rumors spread, doors closed. Though she continued working sporadically, the industry made sure she would never rise again. Without steady income, she slipped into poverty. When she was diagnosed with cancer, she couldn't afford proper treatment. Abandoned by the system she helped elevate, Diana Sands died at just 39. If refusing humiliation ends a career, was Hollywood ever truly offering opportunity at all?
Josephine Baker, silenced by a white journalist and a government that feared her. Josephine Baker was not just a star, she was a global phenomenon. Beloved in Paris, admired for her brilliance, courage, and resistance to racism, she returned to the United States in 1951, believing her fame could challenge injustice at home. Instead, America punished her for daring to demand dignity. After being refused service at a New York nightclub because she was black, Josephine spoke out. That was enough. A powerful white journalist seized the moment and launched a vicious smear campaign, branding her disloyal, dangerous, even a communist. The accusations triggered FBI scrutiny and turned her into a political target. Almost overnight, theaters closed their doors, film contracts vanished, her reputation in the U.S. collapsed. Stripped of income, she lost her wealth and was forced to flee back to France, struggling to support her adopted children. Hollywood erased her, as if she had never mattered. Was Josephine Baker punished for speaking out, or for proving that a black woman could never be safely powerful in America?
Eartha Kitt blacklisted for speaking truth to the president. Eartha Kitt was fearless, a superstar with talent that crossed music, film, and television. She reached heights few could touch. But in 1968, one moment of honesty destroyed everything. At a White House dinner, Eartha openly criticized the Vietnam War, confronting the president himself. She spoke about young people dying senselessly, about a nation losing its soul. The room froze. Power had been challenged, and power responded. Within weeks, she was labeled unstable and unpatriotic. Government agencies monitored her. The press turned vicious. Hollywood followed orders. Roles disappeared. Contracts were canceled. She was forced into exile, leaving the country to survive in Europe while her American career burned to the ground. Eartha eventually returned, but the damage was permanent. She never fully reclaimed the stages she once ruled. If telling the truth ends your career, was fame ever real, or only conditional obedience?
Hazel Scott, destroyed by the FBI for refusing to stay silent. Hazel Scott was brilliance incarnate. A classically trained pianist, actress, and intellectual force, she shattered barriers on screen and television. But during the Red Scare, intelligence and integrity became liabilities. Hazel refused to perform for segregated audiences. She spoke openly against racism. That was enough to attract the attention of the most powerful man in American law enforcement. Without evidence, she was accused of communist sympathies and placed on a blacklist. Her television show, one of the first hosted by a black woman, was abruptly canceled. Concerts were pulled. Income vanished. Hazel sold her home and fell into financial ruin. Isolated, surveilled, and publicly humiliated, she suffered severe depression and was hospitalized. She never recovered her career or her peace. Was Hazel Scott punished for political beliefs or for proving that a black woman could be both brilliant and unafraid?
Fredi Washington, destroyed for refusing to erase her black identity. Fredi Washington stood at the edge of Hollywood stardom in the 1930s. After her unforgettable role in Imitation of Life, studios saw her as marketable, but only under one condition. She had to deny who she was. Powerful white executives demanded that she pass as white to secure leading roles and broader fame. Fredi refused. She chose dignity over opportunity, black identity over white approval. That decision ended everything. Almost immediately, leading roles vanished. Studio heads retaliated by pushing her into minor parts or shutting her out completely. Rumors spread that she was arrogant and uncooperative, labels Hollywood often used to silence black women who resisted control. By the late 1930s, Fredi was forced out of Hollywood. She returned to Harlem, taking low-paying jobs far from the spotlight she once illuminated. The industry moved on, while she faded into obscurity. Should success require self-erasure, or was Hollywood never prepared to accept a proud black woman at all? Juanita Moore, trapped forever in a role she tried to redefine. Juanita Moore delivered one of the most emotionally powerful performances of her era, An Imitation of Life. Her talent earned her critical acclaim and an Academy Award nomination, but behind the scenes, she fought a quieter, more dangerous battle. Juanita challenged the way her character was written, flat, submissive, and built entirely on sacrifice. She wanted depth, humanity, truth. Her director refused. Worse, he punished her for asking. She was labeled difficult and quietly isolated. Producers stopped calling. Roles shrank. Instead of moving forward after success, Juanita was locked into the very stereotype she tried to escape. Financial strain followed. She sold her home to survive. Despite her talent and recognition, Hollywood never allowed her to evolve beyond that single role. If excellence leads to punishment, was Juanita Moore ever meant to win in this system?
Ruby Dee was more than an actress. She was a voice of conscience. Her work in film and theater made her a cultural force, but her commitment to civil rights made her a target. During the Red Scare, Ruby and her husband spoke openly against racism and inequality. That was enough. Without proof, she was accused of communist sympathies and placed on an industry blacklist. Major film contracts were canceled, Broadway doors closed, her career collapsed overnight. Stripped of income, Ruby took menial jobs just to survive. Years of exclusion pushed her into depression and financial hardship. Though she eventually returned to prominence, the damage was permanent. She paid dearly for refusing silence. Sandra Edwards, When Self-Defense Ended a Hollywood Dream. Sandra was supposed to be Hollywood's next breakthrough. In the early 1960s, she appeared in promising projects like Hawaiian Eye and The Crowded Sky, carrying the quiet confidence of a rising black actress finally being seen. But her future didn't collapse because of poor choices or fading talent. It collapsed because of one man. In 1961, Sandra married a white actor who would soon turn her life into a prison. Behind closed doors, he ruled through violence, intimidation, and financial control, demanding her earnings while breaking her spirit. The abuse escalated until the night of October 6, 1962, when Sandra, trapped and terrified, acted in self-defense to protect herself and her infant child. What followed was not understanding nor mercy. Hollywood erased her overnight. Casting calls disappeared. Contracts were canceled. Powerful producers decided she was too risky to employ. A woman who survived violence was punished as if she were the crime. Sandra was forced into poverty, raising her children alone, rejecting one final comeback offer because it required abandoning them. She never returned to the place she deserved. Was Hollywood protecting itself or punishing a woman for refusing to die quietly? These stories are not isolated tragedies. They are evidence of a system, one that rewarded silence, punished resistance, and allowed power to operate without consequence. These black actresses were not destroyed by talent gaps or personal failure. They were systematically erased by an industry built to protect white male authority at all costs. When they spoke up, they were labeled dangerous. When they defended themselves, they were discarded. When they demanded dignity, they were replaced. The lesson is uncomfortable but necessary.
Glamour can coexist with cruelty, and success can be conditional on obedience. Hollywood did not just fail these women, it consumed them. Remembering their names is not about the past. It is about refusing to let the same patterns continue unchecked. Truth is the only antidote to erasure. If these stories moved you, don't let them end here. Share this video, start the conversation, subscribe, and help expose the truths that were buried for far too long.